Penelope Chance Learns to Dance by Maria Bruff. One balmy night not long ago, when I was feeling blue, gazing idly at the stars, wondering what to do, I chanced to meet a little friend, a friend from outer space, a friend who tumbled through the skies and smacked me in the face. This friend of mine who smacked me so had traveled very far, trying to tidy up stardust on each and every star. With a pro-galactic duster and a cordless power vac, she had cleaned the solar system to the Milky Way and back. Then this dust mite, MIGHT, got caught up in some trouble and plummeted to planet Earth in some big cosmic rubble. So that is how we came to meet, this starkeeper and I, one balmy night not long ago when she came bumping by. Once we had said polite hellos and started into talking, this dust mite told me something new and something kind of shocking. She said, "The stars you watch at night are keeping something quiet. The dreamers know and lovers too, but science will deny it. The thing that makes stars twinkle so and glow and shine so brightly is all the dancing going on sundown to sun up nightly. Each one that sparkles in the sky, I mean both small and big, is full of strange inhabitants all dancing up a jig. They waltz and trot and boogie on, they skip and jump and hop, and if they did not carry on, the twinkling would stop." She must have sensed my doubt somehow. Perhaps it was my eyes. I must admit this astral tale had come as a surprise. But then again, I'd never met a dust mite quite this way. Never on a balmy night. Not even in the day. So I listened to my tiny friend, to each and every word, as she told a wondrous story, the best I've ever heard. Once in quadrant 909, while cleaning this and that, she happened on a funny girl who wore a funny hat. She was sitting in the dark on a dim and lonely star, and she seemed a trifle gloomy and a little bit bizarre. Her dress was made of patches, her hair flew all about, her face was stained from crying, lips were frozen in a pout. Her first name was Penelope, her second name was Chance, and the reason she was suffering was she really couldn't dance. She didn't know what foot to use or where to place her arms. Each step she took was awkward, since she wasn't schooled in charms. She was just a lonely child on a star that wouldn't shine, in a distant floating galaxy in quadrant 909. Now, the dust mite, feeling mushy from this sad, peculiar sight, said, "Pack your bags and come with me, we'll journey in the night. I'll take you where the dancers are, you'll learn to tap your toes, your star will be as luminous as any star that glows." So off they went, the two of them, whirling into space, off to new adventures just as fast as they could race. Penelope was happy now. Her dream would soon come true. She thought she'd learn to jitterbug, tango, and soft shoe. Next she'd learn a ballet. Then she might try jazz, hula, clogging, belly dancing, hip-hop, razzmatazz. She'd polka with the best of them. She'd twist and turn and twirl. She'd tourgette and pirouette. She'd swing and sway and swirl. Her star would gleam more brilliantly than any star in sight. At least, that's how she dreamed it on this strange, exciting flight. Before she knew what hit her, she had landed someplace new, in another distant galaxy in quadrant 1002. This star was really swinging with a jazzy kind of jive, and Penelope had never felt so utterly alive. She tried a little stretching, then some fancy twisting move that you might have labeled groovin', if she'd ever found the groove. She wanted to be slinky, but her slink came out a slunk. And when she tried to slink it up, she tripped and fell kerplunk. The dancers only snickered as they sashayed on their way, and the dust mite said, "Penelope, perhaps we shouldn't stay." Soon the pair was off and soaring off to quadrant 1203, where Penelope was certain the dance for her would be. This star was quite enormous. Giant dancers filled the space. Penelope was weary just trying to keep up pace. Her legs were much too short for this, her steps were too petite, and if she was not careful, she'd be crushed by giant feet. Penelope was positive this dance would never fit. Leaving was a pleasure when the dust mite said, "Let's split." They zipped past Halley's Comet, and they didn't hesitate until they heard the ruckus down in quadrant 108. This star was full of tapping and busy little feet, pounding out the rhythm of a syncopated beat. Penelope was taken by this dance that she had found and wanted to contribute to the funkadelic sound. She gathered all her courage and mustered all her poise, but when she started tapping, there wasn't any noise. She was oh so disappointed by the silence of her show. And sensing this, the dust mite said, "I think it's time to go." Once again they took to flight, the keeper and the girl, spinning through the universe in a warp speed whirl. They journeyed through the cosmos on a search for something more, and that is how they found the star in quadrant 804. This star was fraught with tiny folks, all dancing up a storm, and when they saw Penelope, they gathered like a swarm. They skipped and leaped and galloped in a microcosmic fling that Penelope was certain would never be her thing. She felt terribly self-conscious, like an awkward, ugly toad, and was grateful when the dust mite yelled, "Come on, let's hit the road." She was glad to get in motion, to leave this star behind, and hopeful she would find a dance before she lost her mind. It wasn't long before these two descended in a dive, landing on a silver star in quadrant 605. Many lovely ballerinas wove a dainty little dance that was instantly appealing to the lumbering Miss Chance. Penelope moved center stage and struck a goofy pose, and then she tried to dance upon the tip-tops of her toes. First her ankles started wobbling, then her knees began to shake, and she thought if she continued all her bones would surely break. She would not do this silly dance, she could not see the point. Her nerves were all on fire and her toes were out of joint. She couldn't balance on one foot, she couldn't start or stop. She wished that she had never come, this trip had been a flop. She'd never be a dancer now, she'd always be a clod. While other stars went twinkling on, her star would just be flawed. "Take me home at once," she yelled. "I can't take any more. My feet are bruised, my arms are tired, my legs are getting sore. I never want to dance again, I wasn't meant to flit. I never wanted to be seen, my star must stay unlit." The dust mite was left speechless. There was nothing she could say. She grabbed Penelope by the hand and whisked the girl away. Back to quadrant 909, back into the murk, and by the time they reached her home, the girl had gone berserk. She flung herself upon the ground and shouted, "Go away!" But the dust mite did not exit. She had something left to say. "Perhaps I have been wrong," she spoke. "My gift has been in vain. I thought I'd leave you dancing, now I'm leaving you in pain. I took you where the dancing is, we've searched both high and low. There's just one place we haven't been, one journey left to go. You'll have to go alone this time. There isn't room for two. It's time to look inside, my child, and see what you can do." Then the dust mite turned and disappeared with one majestic sweep, and left the sad Penelope still huddled in a heap. She laid there in the silence, not a finger did she raise. She stayed like this for hours, or maybe even days. She laid there in the darkness that she thought would never end, pondering the wisdom of our tiny little friend. And just when things seemed at their worst, her heart had fallen flat. Penelope did something brave. She took a breath and sat. And this is when it happened. As if breaking from a trance, deep inside Penelope, her soul began to dance. It started with a tingling somewhere near her chest, then to her head and arms and feet, then tingling to the rest. A feeling of elation, a power all her own, a sense of self far greater than any she had known. Soon her body was in motion, she was delicate as lace. You would have been astonished by the beauty of her grace. She turned and turned and turned some more, she glided like a swan. She reached and pranced and danced about from midnight until dawn. She never even noticed when her star began to shine brighter than the other stars in quadrant 909, nor the crowd that she had gathered from all quadrants far and wide, all the fans that came to gander at the dance from deep inside. Other dancers tried to copy her, but nothing could compare. A dance that is so genuine is genuinely rare. And some folks turned to critics, said her star was nearly through. Penelope just smiled. She knew it wasn't true. Penelope still dances, and her star shines ever bright. At least, that's how I heard it on a recent balmy night. So if you're ever feeling down, remember this is true. Penelope learned how to dance, and so can each of you.